I'm Spencer, and this is my immediate review of Star Wars. Sorry, my immediate review of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Here's my poster that I got. I saw it in the IMAX 3D, which, quick review of that, I don't recommend. Just see it the normal way. I think the 3D part's kind of dumb. But anyway, let's get on with the actual story. So, the movie, of course, everyone's kind of looking forward to it. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I even reviewed the other one. Anyway, so we have all these. It starts out with this girl. She's really young, and her father ends up creating the Death Star, but he might also have the plans on how to destroy the Death Star. So his daughter ends up trying to find him and then find the plans, and of course start the motions of Episode 4, A New Hope. So this is the whole story behind that. Those aren't really spoilers. That's the whole point of the movie. Everyone kind of knows how that works. So your main character, she is quite forgettable. That's the problem with this movie, I think. I'm going to just say that outright, that the worst part about this movie is the characters. The characters really drag it down. Your main character she's very tough, I guess you could say, as Hollywood wants all the female leads to be. But she doesn't have a lot of lines. She doesn't really say a whole lot throughout the movie. And neither does the other important person, the other dude that's with her. Sorry, I don't even really honestly remember their names that well, because they don't come up a whole lot. It's really, really weird. None of the characters were that memorable. But the dude, he's got the hair to the side, and he's got a really, really thick accent. And even he didn't really do a whole lot. They do like actions throughout the movie, and he's also very cold and calculated, but also very boring. Neither of the two main characters had any real chemistry together. They didn't speak a whole lot together, and they were kind of supported by everybody else. The only really interesting characters were the droid. There's a droid in it, and he is like the entire comic relief for the entire movie. He's the only one that ever has any kind of sass to him, which is... I like that about Star Wars, that a lot of the characters have charm. And the only character, ironically, that has charm is a robot. So that's something to think about. Also, there's two other characters. The guy with the... There's two other characters that fit into archetypes, but they're also more interesting than the two main characters. So I'll say that much. They're pretty interesting. Forrest Whitaker's character was definitely memorable and notable, but he also wasn't overly special. So that's my biggest gripe about this movie, is the characters. I wish that they were a lot better, and I wish they had more charm, like Han Solo. I always go back to him, but he's just such an interesting character because he's fun, he's charming, he's cool. And there's a character that, like this, one of the main characters is supposed to be kind of like him, but in no way has any of the charm. So anyway, that's my rant about the characters. As far as the story goes, it was pretty interesting. It was kind of cool to see how they tied it in to the movies. I mean, I'm always gonna be very dodgy with this review because there's like tons of spoiler stuff that when you see it, like it really makes the movie when you actually see how it ties in. So it's really cool. I liked all that. Special effects were really good. Too much CGI, which is a personal complaint that I complain about with a lot of movies these days. So I'm not gonna really rub it in, but I don't like all the CGI that's in it. But it still looks really good. There's a lot of good effects to it. Please don't use it on all the people all the time. The people CGI is creepy. It's really freaking creepy. So there's that. The music was great, although it's interesting because they didn't use all of the original score from the other movies. They created their own score to make this kind of sound like its own thing, which it was unique. I kind of like the new songs. They weren't bad. They weren't what... They kind of start out sounding like something you remember and then go in their own separate way, which is probably how you should do it. The music was really good. And, I don't know. Honestly, throughout a lot of the movie, I was kind of bored. And I'm not the kind of person that needs action. I think the exact opposite. I thought there should have been less action and more of a focus on storytelling and getting the characters, like, to know each other. I remember episode 7, those characters are so memorable. Like, because they would interact all the time, and they'd have jokes, and they had personalities. These characters just lack a lot of personality. Maybe they're just trying to rush too much into it, but I think if they would have given the characters more breathing room, because, you know. Anyway, again, that's going right back to the characters. I'm sorry. This is an immediate reaction. I haven't planned this out or anything. Just want to get this out there. So, yeah, that's kind of my review of it. Is it good or is it bad? I don't know. I think I'm leaning towards it's not as good as episode 7, which kind of, in my scale, puts it behind the original trilogy and episode 7, but above the prequels, probably. I would say that. I think it's above the prequels. If only for the setting. There's some really cool, like, I love AT-ATs, and when the AT-AT comes, it's pretty fucking awesome. A lot of throwbacks. There's a lot of nostalgia kicks in this movie. Some might be unnecessary, but I think fans appreciate it. So is it good, is it bad? I would say go watch it. It's a fun time, but I don't think it's really as important as the other Star Wars movies, the actual numbered ones in the series. I think it's just like a fun popcorn movie. Ironically, I almost think that the Star Wars name held it back. If this wasn't a Star Wars movie, I think they could have done some really interesting things with the setting and with the characters. As it stands, they could have done like a Suicide Squad situation where the characters all had like a bad backstory and like they were all kind of bad guys. But they didn't do that. The characters are all still pretty good. One of the second main character dude, he's like kind of questionable, especially at the beginning. But yeah, there's some missed opportunities here. Definitely some missed opportunities, but overall, it is a fun movie. More of a popcorn movie. Anyway, I don't want to ramble too much. I'm Spencer. Thank you for watching. We might have a real review at some point with the guys, but I just want to get this out there. So, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.